The hum of my old house was oddly comforting at night. Creaking beams, hissing pipes, white noise for a restless mind. Tonight was no different, except for the storm raging outside. I was working late in the study when the power flickered, and then went out entirely. I reached for the flashlight in the desk drawer and sighed. My phone was almost dead, and the backup generator had been acting up lately. As I descended into the basement to check the breaker box, the chill in the air grew palpable. The smell of damp concrete and mildew filled my nostrils, and the narrow beam of my flashlight illuminated the steep stairs and the packed dirt floor below. I had never liked this basement. It felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. My footsteps echoed sharply as I stepped down, and the sound reverberated like whispers. I reached the bottom and paused. The breaker box was across the room, its metal face glinting faintly in the dim light. As I moved toward it, I heard something. A faint scraping noise, like fingernails dragging across wood. My heart thumped, but I forced myself to focus. It's an old house. Things creak. Things settle. I repeated the mantra in my head. But then I saw it, on the far wall, just at the edge of the flashlight's reach. A shadow. It was tall, impossibly thin, and it moved. My breath caught as it slithered along the wall, too fast for any human. I swung the flashlight around, but nothing was there. My legs felt rooted to the floor. I wanted to run, but some sick curiosity kept me frozen. The scraping noise started again, louder this time, coming from behind me. I spun around, flashlight shaking in my grip. There was nothing but the old wooden stairs. Something moved at the periphery of my vision. A black mass darted across the room, and I instinctively stumbled back. The light flickered over shelves of dusty jars and rusted tools before landing on the breaker box. Just reset it and leave. I hurried to the box, my fingers fumbling with the latch. The scraping sound grew louder, coming from everywhere at once. It was almost a scream, a guttural noise that made my stomach churn. I flipped the breaker, and for a split second, the lights flickered back on. That's when I saw it. The shadow wasn't a trick of the light. It was a figure, tall, spindly, with unnaturally long limbs that bent in wrong directions. Its face was a hollow void, and yet I could feel it watching me, boring into me. The lights went out again, plunging me into darkness. I dropped the flashlight. The bulb shattered against the floor. My breathing came in shallow gasps as the sound of scratching grew deafening. And then it stopped. Silence. I stood there, paralyzed. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. A cold breath brushed against my ear, and a voice like dry leaves, whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't care if I tripped or fell. I bolted up the stairs, slamming the door behind me. My heart was hammering in my chest, and for a moment, I thought I was safe. But then I heard it. The faint scraping. It was coming from the other side of the door, and it was getting closer.